Welcome back to the program, Humberly González.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on. It's funny, last year we got to interview back in June. It's been a whole year since, and now every time I see your face, I crave cream cheese and really want to get into an Elantra.
Yes, it's true. My face is a little bit everywhere.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, but of course, not just your face, but your voice as well. This past May saw the release of Oracle 2, the Dreamland Murders, to Audible. I guess it was a 10-part podcast, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, 10-part podcast. Very again, I'm so used to podcasts being just people talking, interviews, stuff like that.
Mhm.
I've just gotten into the whole radio play aspect of podcasting, and I got to say, I was drawn in right from
Right?
the get go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not just by Nate, but like the entire cast. Of course, your character Claire Fernandez is going through a lot.
A lot.
She's getting over
While
being
holding up this really intense job that's she's surrounded by all this male energy.
yeah, she has to
Yeah.
spend the time babysitting to an agent and a basically a medium, while
Yeah.
also dealing with the fact that she has issues with her son, and also
Broken family. Yeah.
broken family, and also dealing with being buried alive, and really hasn't gotten
Yeah.
over that yet.
Has some PTSD. Yeah, she's dealing with a lot for sure. I don't know how she does it.
No, totally. So, what was it like taking on the role of Claire? Because I know that you have a history of playing teenagers a lot. I know that
No.
more recently been getting into playing some adult professionals. Of course, Ivy on nurses, and now a full-fledged FBI agent. That's got to have been a fun role to take on.
For sure. And especially when I don't have the luxury of relying on any other skill other than my voice. I mean, how
Mm.
do I convey everything that she is? And I don't have my face or my body language to show that. So, I mean, the first thing that I had to find was her voice. How do I show this energy of authority and strength while also she has all of these underlying vulnerabilities? So honestly, I remember being in the studio for the first time, and the first few pages was just like me and the sound designer and talking to Andrew as well, just who is Claire? How does she sound? Where does she live? How she laughs? How quick she is? She's very witty, very dry. She doesn't take any nonsense. So finding that voice was different because I've always been a little lighter. I don't
Mm.
lean into, I actually have a deep voice naturally, and I hadn't really leaned into that. So when they were like, no, this is what we want, that's what we like, I was like, okay, going to the dark side.
Yeah, no, you really got it. Actually, the emotion really comes through the deep voice, definitely.
Yeah.
And like there were some points in there where you went to some dark places, like when Claire is questioning that child and trying to get the mute
Yeah.
child to talk.
Yeah.
You like that is a tour de force right there. Like how like was there some how dark did you get while
Yeah.
creating
And
this performance?
it's kind of great because there's something about voice acting that is a lot more vulnerable because I mean, I'm literally using my voice to speak up about what she's feeling and what she's going through. That in itself is already very vulnerable. So honestly, I was sitting in the studio and there were points where I was just sitting there crying or angry, or it feels just as real. It's just that there just doesn't happen to be a camera catching that. It has to be all through the vocal cords, and I'm glad that it made it, it came through and that it made sense and you could feel that because I was definitely living in that moment.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no. It comes right through. You feel it as you listen to it totally. Now, when it comes to the recording of this, were you and the other actors recording together or was it separate?
Not always. The leads were usually in separate studios. I was in Toronto, whereas they were in LA. But we had other side characters that, like my husband, there were some other kids, and there were days that we could all be in the studio together, which was really exciting.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own little space, their booth, where you could like read the lines from, and then we all have like our little light, and we're all just kind of looking at each other. It's like reading a book out loud to each other, but we're acting. And that's why this is so different. I had never heard anything like this either. And when I heard this show with the sound design and the music and the acting, it was phenomenal. I mean, I could just close my eyes and the whole world would come alive.
Yeah, yeah. And so also with the voice direction here, like how hands on were they in your performance?
For sure. I mean, I think at the start they were trying to guide me into what they were looking for quality wise, and if they wanted something a little faster or more snippy, because they see the whole show as a whole. I was coming in just with my own take on the character and not knowing absolutely everything. I mean, we got the scripts and I could read it, but I know that they have a whole world imagined with music and sound that I hadn't heard yet. So to fit into an idea that somebody else had already built, there was a bit of back and forth. But after a while, I mean, after the first session, I felt like by the end of the day, I really had a hold on who Claire was. So then the rest of it, I think even everybody was surprised that we found a lot of new qualities about her. And in the exploration of it, she kind of came to life on her own. So it's really exciting because, they're very collaborative and they let me do a lot of things and they let me kind of try things first, and they were like, actually that was great, scratch what we said, or they'd be like, actually maybe try it this way. So it's great when everybody's kind of open to ideas and guidance, and we were all really happy with all the material. I mean, when I heard it, I was very happy with it too, so yay.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no. And like that's a great environment to be able to, especially I guess voice acting, it's almost easier to have that kind of give and take because you're just
For
focusing on
sure.
one
I mean,
element. Yeah.
there's no like real reset or touch ups and hair and makeup, nothing. It's
Yeah.
just your voice. So when they record something, takes a few seconds and they go, you know what, let's take it again and do it a little faster, take the breath out of it, and you go, okay, got it. So the days go faster, even though every session was maybe like 8 hours with breaks in between. We got a lot done every day.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Now, where do you think, like, because again, like, I love the story because it's noir, it's procedural, there's supernatural elements, it's playing with a lot of different genres,
Mhm.
but at the end of it, the characters, their lives are not wrapped up easily. It's just they have gotten to the end of this case. So,
Right.
where do you think Claire goes from here?
I mean, first of all, she's trying to just like get back her kid.
Yeah,
She obviously needs to deal with her PTSD. And she's on the mend. I think she learned a lot from being a part of this case, in the way that like your monsters never really leave you and you have to face them dead on so that you could move on and you could heal from that. So she's definitely in like a self realization and healing journey with herself, mending relationships while also forgiving herself and others. um, I have no doubt that she'll be at this job and she'll like continue killing it, of course.
mm,
And I feel like they'll all continue to work together too. Their friendships got stronger by the end of it, and they were able to resolve a lot of things, hard conversations that need to be had with friends sometimes. But I definitely see them taking on more cases.
yeah, no, definitely, me too. But
Yeah.
even at the end of it, I still think Greg is a dick.
I feel
It's
like
like
it's
I
just
would not want to be
lonely.
partners with that
Like,
guy.
he's just lonely and he wants to just like create a little bit of friction. I think it's fun for him, but at the end of the day, I think he's got a heart in there that he doesn't like to show it all the time.
Right.
um and he tried to show that to Claire, that like, the reason he kind of like made up these lies that she was okay to continue working was because he cared and he doesn't want to be alone. He thought by this time he'd have a family and kids and all these things, but he didn't. So what he has is his friends and his job. So I'm like,
Yeah.
he's got to care.
I know. I just wish he'd be less of a dick about it.
I
That's all.
know.
That's
But then
all.
what would be the fun in listening to just all people be nice all the time? We need the
No, no,
drama.
true, true. I get it. I understand. It's just
Yeah.
I've had coworkers like Greg before, and
There
I
you
was
go.
very glad when they weren't my coworkers anymore. That's
There you
basically.
go.
But of course, you've got a lot of different projects going on. I know that
Mhm.
I don't know if you've done it already or not, but you're directing a short, A Severe Case of Prudery.
Yes, it was my first time attempting direction. I have a couple fellow Latinx actors here in the city, and they decided to come up with a concept that was really close to all of our hearts. And they brought me in to direct for over a weekend. And I was ecstatic, nervous because I had never tried that, but also excited because it is something that I want to dive into in my future with creation and production and directing. So that was really fun. Yeah.
So the experience overall, Like, again, I've heard a lot of times that actors end up making great directors. Did you have a
I think
quick
so,
connection with your
for sure.
cast?
I think a great director, and like the great directors that I've had, it isn't about them telling you exactly what to do, but rather bringing it out of you by prompting questions or challenging you in the way that you're attempting something. Because everybody's different, they don't think just like you. My job is to see, I guess, the potential of something that could be and how to draw it out of an actor. And I've always been really good at that. Just like, how about you think about it this way? You know, when this happens, what about this? And then they go, oh, right. I never thought of it that way. I think an outside eye gives you hints into what it could be rather than completely change it or transform it. You know, I don't want to change the actor's performance. I just want to enhance it.
Yeah, of course. You want to get out the best them in their
Mhm.
performance. Totally. Now, of course, also earlier this year was the release of the Fallen Angels Murder Club,
Yes.
which the first two movies. So, what was it like working with Tony Braxton?
Oh, amazing. She's the sweetest human. You know, we sang a lot on set, we ate a lot, we had a lot of laughs, and it was so easy to work with her because she was just so eager to learn. You know, for her, she feels like acting is still something so new. So
Mm.
she was just so open to direction, and she was always like, I don't know how you guys do it. This is so hard. Like when learning a monologue, it's like, how do you do this? And I'm like, you just gotta follow the thought. It's like a song, you know? So it's like that was such a great set, honestly, to this day. All of those humans I absolutely love, and we support each other still to this day. So it was such an incredible experience to come together. And the beautiful thing is that that production found us. You know, none of us auditioned for it. They just offered the roles to us. And I thought that was
That's
so
awesome.
special that maybe we were always meant to play those characters.
Definitely. Now, is there a possibility that there'll be more Fallen Angels Murder Club?
We shall see.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh man. Um, now, speaking of, you mentioned singing. I know that you finally got to have another part recently where you got to
Yeah.
sing with 100 Lies, which is coming out later this year. Tell us what it's about and what's going on with that.
Yeah, I mean, this film is so special because it is fully Canadian. Red Hill Entertainment are a Canadian production company, and they're creating stories that are fresh, and they have a different perspective that we're not catering to, you know, stories that are made in the US or things that happen there, but rather things that happen here. And this movie specifically is about the music industry in Toronto and the hardships that people go through. And it follows the story of this one guy, and you know, everything from fame to the collapse of that, to loss to gain, to following your dreams, and the hardships that it, you know, what it takes to be in an industry like that here in Toronto. So I got to work with incredible musicians, and we recorded all original music, and it was so fun to be in the studio for that because it definitely reignited my passion for singing. And I know that I have to dive into it. I've had a lot of people be like, let's make music, let's write music, let's do it. And I know that I will in its due time. I'm
Yeah,
just so
because like
happy.
that's the thing. Like when I saw you in Utopia Falls, I thought that you were a
Yeah,
singer. Like
thank
you had
you.
albums out there and stuff. I was like, oh no, she's just an actor that sings. Well,
Yeah,
you,
there we go. I feel like I do a little bit of everything,
yeah.
and I want to be able to do everything 100%.
Well, that's
So,
right. You came from the
you
theater,
know,
so of course, theater, you
yeah,
do
yeah,
everything
like
there.
that
Yeah,
triple threat. Yeah.
yeah. No, that's awesome. That's really good. Now, I know that it just got released that you've been signed on to part of the cast of Horoscope, which begins
Yes.
shooting in the fall. So you
Yeah.
yourself, like I know that the story about the whole, people getting their horoscopes they read, they end up dying in a way that's connected to that. Are you a big horoscope fan? Do you read your horoscope?
I do. I read them all the time.
Do you find that they're accurate? Do
You know
any of
what?
these
I
things
think
hold
it's
true?
like it's more of this like what you believe you can make happen. I think the power of the mind is it's almost that whole like law of attraction.
Right.
I think we can make anything mean whatever we want it. You know, we're always struggling with something or want clarity with an issue or something that we're thinking about. And the second we read something, we make it mean something, and you're like, whoa, that's super accurate. But I have to say, I've had my tarot cards read, and they've been like intensely accurate, and I've definitely felt very seen. And whether it's real or not, it allows me to believe in myself a bit more, and it allows me to relax and kind of trust a bit more, and letting go and surrendering, and trusting that things are going to work out, and that struggle is kind of also the way into success. So,
Yeah.
I think it's really fun. Like, I find it really fun, and I love anything that's connected to like energy and astrology and the universe. So for me, it's like I don't live my entire life based on it, but I
Right.
definitely feel like we maybe have our own superpower in our minds.
Sometimes when I pick up and read a horoscope, I'm always, I don't know. I think somebody's playing a trick on me because most times I pick it up, it usually starts with "This will not be a good year for you" or "This will not be a good week for
Oh
you."
no! Maybe it's like reverse psychology.
Yeah,
You're like,
like
I'll show you. I'm gonna
I'll
have the
show
best
them.
year ever. See,
Yeah,
and then it like
yeah.
creates this chain of reaction.
There you go. Definitely, definitely. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Now, last year when we talked, we ended up talking about the fact that you like to go to sleep to horror movies and you're a big horror
it's true.
fan. You
Yeah.
love horror. So I'm surprised to find out that you're afraid of haunted houses.
I am. I like to be in the comfort of my house and knowing that it's fake and seeing it. But there is no way in hell that I'm about to be chased in a dark room by some like actor in a chainsaw. And I'm like, I have lost it before. I have definitely screamed at the actors, poor actors. I know that it's their job, but I am just like threatening them with their life. Like, do not get close to me. I don't know. Something comes up that I'm like, I would be one of those people in horror movies that would die first because I would just be like, nope, nope, like take me now. I am not gonna start running away from you. I'm not hiding. Like if I can't outrun you, just end it now.
Well, see, that's interesting because
Terrified.
like your reaction would actually be a good part of a haunted house. Like you're walking through a haunted house and then there's this woman yelling at you, "I'm gonna fucking kill you because I'm fucking
True.
scared."
Maybe I honestly I would love to be a part of like if I was an actor in a haunted house, I have no issue with scaring people. I just don't
Right.
want to be on the receiving
That
end.
would receive
I don't
the
know what
end.
that's about, but ever since I was a kid, oh my gosh, I used to scream and shout, like crawl. I would like break my knees just trying to like get away from these people. And I'm like, why did I go in here? Yeah, I love scary movies, hate IRL haunted houses.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And so, when you were recording the part of Claire in the funhouse, were you tapping into your own emotions about haunted houses?
Oh, heck yeah. I know that she's always like, this is really creepy. And I'm like, I do not want to be here. And there's a lot of those moments that are just like very terrifying. And I'm like in the studio alone. I'm like, are y'all sure that there's nobody here, right? Like, it's a little scary. So it's a lot, like you go into your psyche a bit more when it's just voice because you're imagining a lot. And there's a lot of things that you have to imagine to make it feel real. So for
Right.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I see this you going method. It's like I'm in a haunted
Yeah.
studio.
Like, okay, this is haunted. There might be a clown, a killer, something, a witch. What is that? What is that? What's that sound? Like you go into your own head.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
when it's in the middle of the night and you have to wake up to pee in the middle of the night. Suddenly it's like your house is haunted. There's monsters at every corner. Your feet are gonna get taken from under the bed. Like you always feel that way.
Isn't it funny though that it's like you wake up and you get that feeling and your foot's hanging off the bed and you're like, oh my God. But then as soon as you tuck it back in, suddenly,
You're
oh,
like,
thank God, they're not going to get me.
yeah, it's like I'm safe under the covers now. I know the mind again, very
So
powerful.
maybe when you go to a haunted house, you need to carry a pillow and a blanket and then you'll be
But I
safe.
can hit the actors with them. Yes,
There you go.
a weapon.
Oh, that's awesome. So I look forward to your haunted house solo one woman show
Oh my
and
God.
see what performance
I
you
bet
can.
people would love to see that. I should start a channel where it's just me putting myself in like every haunted house I could find and just scaring the shit out of myself. I'm sure people would love to watch that. I am not about to do it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Like, ugh.
So
Yeah.
people listening out there, you have to tweet or send a message on Instagram to Humberly telling her you want her in haunted houses. That's
Ugh.
what you say.
I swear I shouldn't have said anything. This is what happens to me. See, you call it into existence. Suddenly, next thing you know, people are like, do it or you're canceled.
I don't think they'd be that bad, but okay. Oh
Fine.
my god. Oh well, I want to thank you for talking with me today. It's been a delight. It's always fun talking to you. You're like a breath of fresh air, and I look
Oh, thank you.
forward to seeing your many performances, which will most likely not take place in a haunted house.
Definitely not. No, no, not yet. Not yet. I gotta build up the courage here. First, I'll be in like a really scary movie, which I think this one will be. Horoscope. I mean, the script is amazing and the
Yeah.
creators are incredible. So it's kind of like living out my own nightmare. So we'll see how it goes.
All righty. Okay. But for now, You'll just be spectating, watching your horror movies at home.
I will. I'll just be at home in my cozy PJs watching from the comfort of my couch.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
Hope you
you.
have a great rest of the day.
You too.